Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dick Kelter speaking, and we're here for another episode of Sports Talk. And our guest this evening is the Superintendent of Schools, new to the superintendency, but certainly not a stranger to Foxborough. I'd like to welcome Chris Martes.
Thanks, Dick. It's great to be here.
Thank you. Chris, a lot of people remember you who have been around a long time. You were a young teacher when I arrived in town almost 30 years ago.
Right.
And a lot of people probably don't know that you were a sixth grade teacher at that time and a basketball coach.
Yeah, fifth grade.
Fifth grade.
Fifth grade at the Lewis School. And I actually started coaching basketball, ninth grade basketball my senior year in college. And then kind of worked my way up, coached junior varsity basketball for a couple of years, took over the girls program for 3 years, and then coached the boys program for 2 years before I left to become a principal. So it's nice to be back. It's nice to reacquaint myself with Foxborough, and it's great to be part of the whole program here.
You have gone from the bottom of the heap now to the top of the heap, where you're the last voice after the athletic director. Fortunately, you've got a good new athletic director who is very eager, and some very good programs you inherited.
Yeah, we have terrific programs. We were fortunate. Craig Najarian, who was a former baseball coach at Holy Cross, applied for the athletic director position after Keith Gibson announced that he was retiring. And Craig has been a new set of eyes coming into a very strong athletic program. And he's been able to offer some different ideas, and he hired a new boys basketball coach, and kind of marshaled through the fall sports season, which was successful. I think we had a very good year, very good fall sports year, and we're just starting the winter season.
So your first efforts, obviously, you got an athletic director, and as you say, sometimes things get a little stale. You got to mix it up, and people move on, and you get a new set of eyes, and you get ideas that they bring from their last venue that might work here and might make us more efficient, and budget ideas. And fortunately, you have the support of some really good booster clubs to help him out. Budgets are thin, and athletics doesn't. You just can't move the kind of money to athletics that you used to move, and if you go back 100 years, they'll still say the athletic budget was thin.
Right.
You probably remember coaching for 50 cents an hour, so.
Yeah, it seemed like that's about what it was, but I think all of our coaches, it's probably still about the same, given all the demands and all the work that needs to be done, even outside of the regular season part of the actual coaching, just the monitoring of the kids and making sure that the courses are being taken, academics is strong, people are working towards being successful in that way as well. Athletics is a great way to, as you know, to discipline yourself and really to be kind of the total package, and I think we see that. I think Foxborough is a great example of that. Over the years, we've graduated a number of student athletes who have gone on and done very, very well for themselves.
That's true. It's and the academics obviously is always primary, but give me a few comments on how athletics integrates into that pie and makes that whole student that colleges are looking for.
Yeah, I think I think it's becoming more and more obvious as we take a look at our student athletes that the discipline, as you know, Dick, from competing yourself, the discipline to be able to practice and to improve translates into the classroom. It's the same kind of discipline that you need, the same kind of mental toughness that you need. And so we see that combination, and we see, by and large, most of our students who are competing at any level are doing well in the classroom. We have a very small list of kids that are not, that have trouble competing, and we continue to work with those kids because we think that if they're interested in playing a sport, that they do need to continue to keep up the academic side of it. But there are strong connections, and I know just from having two, one that just finished college and one who's in college, colleges do look for more well-rounded students. So athletics can play a terrific role in that, in applying to colleges, because they're not just looking for great coursework. They're looking for who can also contribute in other ways on a college campus. So the ability to compete at the high school level, and as you know from all the officiating that you've done in a number of different sports, the Hockomock League is still one of the top leagues in Massachusetts. Competes at a very, very high level, and our students are part of that whole success, not only here in Foxborough but across the whole league. So it's a really strong league. We saw it in football as a good example of our high school football team played a team that almost won the Division I state title, and we beat that team, Dartmouth High School. So we'll see it in basketball, we'll see it in hockey, we'll see it both boys and girls athletics. We'll see it right across the board, and it's good to see.
I shouldn't slight anybody, but it goes across the spectrum of the ancillary programs that you offer, including the band and the clubs and those kinds of things. Kids that are diligent and are working with highly motivated teachers acquire them as role models, and the one just makes the other. You're upping the ante all the time. Right. Every kid wants to come through and be a better football player and have a better record and wants to have better grades than their predecessors or brothers and sisters or whatever, and one seems to drive the other, and they go hand in hand. So it's a support for the academics to keeping kids active and interested. And I don't know if Craig has had a chance to publish the numbers. It might take him a whole year, but the percentage of kids involved in extracurriculars outside of the classroom is like amazing. And I don't know whether it's a function of our small enrollment compared to the rest of the league, but to hold their own as one of the smaller, or maybe the smallest school in population.
Right now, I think we are the smallest school in the Hockomock League, and you're right. Just to your point, to be able to compete at the level that Foxborough High School competes at is really a tribute, and it's also a tribute, as you know, from having students come through the system. It's really a tribute to the youth programs as well. I mean, we have tremendous youth programs all across the board in the community, and the Foxborough Reporter does a great job of reporting. So that builds as well. So we see once the kids get to the high school, they have great opportunities to compete at a high level, and we're seeing that. And that doesn't exclude the other extracurricular, the band. I was at the concert, the holiday concert the other night, and it was terrific. We know it's a world-class program. The extracurricular, the clubs, student government, those kinds of things. So we want our students to be well-rounded. We know they have a number of opportunities, and one of the things that the athletic director is looking at is making sure that we have a lot of opportunities for kids to compete. And I think he'll be putting forth some direction around that as we build budgets over the next couple of years.
Yeah, that's amazing. You had a youth program in hockey that created the demand to move into that sport.
Right.
And all of a sudden, lacrosse has just come out of the woodwork. There's youth programs. There's 300 or 400 kids playing youth lacrosse. In a twinkling. It just seemed like it happened overnight, and all of a sudden lacrosse is a very hot sport. So you keep expanding the offerings. Girls volleyball. I understand there seems to be some movement towards a swimming program.
Right. With the
noise
with the Y. Yeah, so I think we're creating some of that noise. We hope to meet in the next couple of weeks with some of the people representing the Y. Knowing that they'll have a terrific facility, that maybe we can start a swimming program. I'd love to see that. I think it would be a great addition to our offerings at Foxborough High School.
Philosophically, we've kind of gone around the edges, but all of these things feed off of one another. Success on the field goes to success in the classroom, and we're raising a different breed of student. We're very heavily college-oriented. You've got parents who are well educated and want their kids to go on to college, but we still have programs that allow the kid who wants to go into the military after he gets through or wants to go into the workforce. We're still preparing them, and some of their preparation is out there on the battlefields because that's an imitation of life. Right. The things that you hurdles.
And we know more and more in terms of 21st century skills that we want our students to have. Teamwork is right near the top of anyone's list, and so for our young people to understand how they have to work together in order to, and they can accomplish a lot more as a group than they can individually. So we look at a lot of our team sports, and we instill that at a young age, but it really, as students compete at a higher and higher level as they get older, they see the importance of that, and that is a workplace skill. Just the whole idea of understanding what hard work is in order to achieve, we know that that's a workplace skill as well. We know that arriving on time, putting in a full day of work, those kinds of things, that leads to success in life. And it sounds simple. It sounds simple for me to say it, but there are enormous skills in the 21st century. And I think our athletic programs, good role models as adults. We want our coaches to be good role models for the kids, and to instill that, and to talk specifically about these are the kinds of things you have to do in order for you to succeed. But sometimes we all have to sacrifice our own personal glory in order for the team to be successful, and that's a life skill that we see that sometimes doesn't go as well initially because everyone wants to do well themselves. But to be able to sacrifice yourself, part of what maybe you do well, in order for that team to be better, is something that people take, for their entire life. And when they look back, they see those kinds of things that have happened to them and say, I learned from that, and maybe I learned at a young age, and maybe it wasn't the most pleasant lesson in the world, but it certainly led to something better. So we see that, and we see, one of the nice things about being in Foxborough is I oftentimes will see a former player of mine, and it's just great to see them successful in life. They're raising their family here. They have children in the school. I see them at a lot of our former players at school events. So it's great to see.
Gets a little scary when you start seeing.
Well, I start to feel really old, but other than that, it's satisfying. So,
you're right about that. The whole business world model has changed to teamwork. You don't do anything in isolation. I recall in my early insurance career, you didn't write a letter or prepare something to pass into your boss without running it past two sets of eyes to critique it. I was involved in some resume writing for some folks, and it was 3 or 4 sets of eyes, and everybody had really good input, and so it is a transfer skill, as they say. But so you're getting around the gymnasium. The place looks a whole lot different than when you left town.
It does.
But the feeder programs that you mentioned are really awesome. I guess it goes back to the old. Pardon me, Hillary, it takes a community to raise a child. And we seem to have all of the facets, people who are willing to pay good taxes and support a budget and make sure the kids are getting the best that we can offer with the money that we have. And I'm sure, it's a hard dance for you because there's a lot of things you'd like to do, and then you have to start slicing stuff off the pie. But if you... you have your support people who can help you from where we came, and you go with some logical progressions of where you ought to be taking the district.
Right, and I think to an earlier point that you made, Dick, I think the whole notion of making sure that we understand that students need to be well-rounded, and understanding all of the skills that they will need to be successful, the push towards college, the understanding that maybe a student will go into the workplace or go into the military, but there's some other schooling beyond that they're going to have to get involved in, probably sooner than later, in order to be successful in life. So as we're developing budgets, and I do rely heavily on I think a very talented staff. We have a good group of other leaders in the district and a very supportive school committee. So it's a matter of really prioritizing, but I think everyone knows how important the athletic program is. And I'm getting a sense. I was able to attend the basketball game Friday night, and it was nice to be back in the gym, seeing all the things that are going on, and I'm sure I'll be attending a lot of other events over this winter season as I'm anxious to see how our programs have developed. I know we have really terrific coaches that are really spending a lot of time preparing the kids, so it's really good to see.
Yeah, there have been additional accoutrements, the presence of athletic trainers on the premises, which were unheard of.
Right.
You were the taper and training
Right,
guy,
I was a
and
taper,
and then you blew up the basketballs. It was kind of do it all yourself kind of operation back when your early coaching years.
Right.
And now we continue, and again, the mental, physical health of your student athlete is a priority.
Yeah, it is a priority. We actually do a lot of training. We've even done refresh people in CPR training, using the defibrillators, those kinds of things in case of a real emergency, understanding how to contact 911, looking at, we've been working with the fire department on some of the emergency procedures and those kinds of things that you're right. Back when I coached, we didn't spend a lot of time at that. I did a lot of the taping and a lot of the finding the ice, looking at those kinds of things. That was always an adventure. But now with an athletic trainer, and students, I think, know more now from a younger age about how to train. The nutrition is an important aspect. Good nutrition is an important aspect of real competition. We've been looking more recently. We've had some speakers for parents. We're going to do some things with staff and students about drug and alcohol awareness. One of the linebackers of the Patriots, Pierre Woods, spoke at our fall parent night, or student parent night, about understanding how you take care of yourself in order to compete at a high level. Very, very well attended and very, very well accepted. So we're putting a lot of those things together that I think are really important for students to understand how they do compete. And it has changed. It is interesting in that way. And
having some access to collaboration with the professional team that's on our doorstep,
right.
It has to be an enhancement when you can bring those kind of people to the table,
right.
to say, hey, this is the way I had to do it, and this is the demands, and it places a lot of emphasis on those kinds of things. If you're not healthy, you can't compete in the classroom or on the field.
Right. That's right.
So making sure kids are getting nutritional meals. You're probably in the middle of redoing the cafeteria and the kinds of things that they offer, and that has become a federal priority, I believe, over in recent history. And
it is.
Just getting the kids to nutritionally balanced foods and not pounding down junk food.
Right. Yeah. No, we have done. I think this program, again in my few months here, this program has made very good strides in the last few years, making sure we offer salads and a number of other healthy choices that students can make. So it's not just that here's the lunch that we have today, and that's it. Either you buy it or you don't. Here's a number of different choices at all levels, and it's really good to see. And a lot of the training that we do, our wellness curriculum and our programs that we have in the school, our wellness teachers are doing a nice job of making sure that students understand all of that as well. So
a lot of people don't understand the magnitude of the wellness portion of what they consider a phys ed program.
Right.
But Mr. Murphy has done a lot of work
right.
designing, expanding, and tweaking that program. I had something in the back of my head. You mentioned the fact that we had some successes, and including 2 athletes out of the same class that went on to high-level college athletics and
Right.
pro ball. Do you think there's too much of an emphasis on getting the kids to be a one-sport athlete and driving them in the one sport, as opposed to, I always thought that rather than, even when I coached, I would not coach summer hockey. I think kids should be out hitting a tennis ball, hitting a golf ball, just some life sports.
Right.
They're not going to be able to play football all their lives,
Right.
except for that 1 in 1,000.
Right. Yep.
So,
That's true.
do you think philosophically there should be some more, spread or education about?
I do, because I think I've seen in in my career in a number of different communities, I think I've seen more disappointment with the single sport athlete than real success. And I think part of it is, we know from a medical side that there's overuse injuries that happen when you're just involved in one activity, that you're continuing to do the same thing day after day. And also maybe not being the best on a team in another sport is a healthy thing. And to be able to compete, but see other people who are maybe doing better. And at times I've also seen students that may get tired of one sport, but they haven't been able to compete in other ones, and they're at a loss, because as they get older, it's more difficult to pick those up. So I'm a huge believer of the three sport athlete, or at least a 2-sport athlete, where someone is really looking at a number of different things, because you never know, as you've seen and I've seen, kids develop differently. Some of them grow more, some of them don't. And if they're thinking that they may have been the best player in their 5th or 6th grade team, and suddenly other kids are competing, looking at other sports I think is a very healthy thing to do.
Yeah, in fact, I think I just read something about a fellow who was a junior or a senior and didn't make one team, and didn't want to be a bench player, and went and tried out for another team.
Right.
Tried another sport.
Right.
That's the fact that we have multiple opportunities. When we were growing up, it was football, baseball, basketball, track. It was really limited. A little tennis,
Right.
Depended on where. When I arrived here, this place was a soccer mecca.
Right.
Nobody in our area, Hockomock League, nobody was in these. Our soccer teams were running off to Wellesley and Needham and Newton, and
That's right.
places where they were playing soccer close to the city. And,
Right.
and then it developed. And at the same time, if you went south of here, they didn't know anything about ice hockey. Ice hockey,
That's right.
the border
Right.
kind of stopped at Walpole.
Right.
For a while.
That's true. That's right. That's exactly right.
The Bay State League was the hockey powerhouse on the south of Boston.
Right.
So it was interesting how this thing just continues to grow. And I guess the plus side is, where the kids are, that they're doing something healthy, constructive, good environment.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who they're working with are among some of your most dedicated teachers.
Right.
They just live the job.
Right.
And sometimes, philosophically, that's the way I felt when I was a teacher. You had to live the job. It wasn't a 7 to 3. Forget it. You're always taking work home. You're a class advisor. You're a coach. You're an advisor. I've even judged debates.
Right.
When somebody called me and I need a
dances.
judge at the last. We chaperoned a few dances in that time too, didn't we? So it takes the willingness of an awful lot of people to accomplish this, and I think you already feel like you're blessed with a staff that's willing to give you their best work and work with the kids, and it all turns out being fun in the long run. There are some frustrations, and you go home tired a few nights, and
Right.
and at your level now, it's a different kind of thing. You spend night after night in meetings here and there, and
Right.
you go home brain tired after
Right.
those kinds of things. The kids go home a little brain tired, but they have to find the discipline and dig down and get those hit the books before they sack out.
They do.
And somehow.
And just to that, I think that's a very important point. They schedule their time too, and that's another life skill, being able to schedule that time. So if they're not practicing until 5 o'clock, they have some time there that they're going to have to budget between the end of school and when, so that they're not getting home tired and ready for bed and thinking they have to, you know, they also have to study. So some of that kind of scheduling and discipline is part of athletics as well.
And obviously that's valuable for them almost immediately as they enter the college system.
Right.
Because if you can't schedule your time properly, you don't make a very good academician, let alone an athlete.
Right. No one looking over your shoulder there either. So you know.
Yeah, you're on your own. So getting, again, life skills, managing their money and managing their time, and it's a blending of the two processes. You can't teach it all in the classroom, but there are some things. Sometimes I feel like a coach has more of the kid's attention, because he's someplace he wants to be. Doesn't necessarily want to be in that classroom for 5 hours, but he's performing the task that he's performing because he wants to be there.
Right.
So you have that little tiny advantage of having the kid's attention and being able to maybe tweak some things because he wants to be there. And you can place some demands on a kid on the field, on the court, that you can't place on him in the classroom if his interest level is...
Yeah, and I think in many ways you get to know them better too, because you're there, you're with them for those couple of hours at practice, you're getting to know them as people, not just as athletes, not just as students, and you know from coaching, that's a part of coaching that's enormously important. It's not just how much do you know about that particular sport? How much do you know about how to practice or how to coach a game? But it's how do you get to know the kids, and how do you get to know their families, and how do you figure out what they're aspiring to? What do they want to do with their lives, and how can you help them? And we have really good coaches. You know them, and I know them that do that part of it, that are helpful for students who want to go to college. Or to do something else in life, and the contacts that good coaches have in the community, in a larger community, the relationships they have, it's really important.
Well, it's you know, I guess I got to wrap this up a little bit, but personally for me, and hopefully I speak for the community, we're so pleased to have you back as our leader.
Thank you.
I think you hit the school system. We're in pretty good shape, and there's some things that can always be tweaked, as we all know, and on both sides of the fence. We're always looking to do a little bit more, do a little bit better. We're looking forward to your leadership and having some fun, and giving you the opportunity to see the benefits of some of the things you did back here when you were a fifth grade teacher, excuse me. And welcome to you and your family back to the community, and
thank you.
Best wishes for the holidays.
Dick, thank you. Same to you. I'll come back anytime you want. This has been a great time to talk about Foxborough athletics and just the whole community in general. It's been
and
really
kids.
Fun. And kids.
That's what we're here for.
That's right.
Thank you very much, Chris. And this is Dick Kelter saying thank you for watching, and good night from Sports Talk.